and welcome to Wisdom Exchange number 30. And sorry we didn't have the introduction today. I'm not sure why, probably because I didn't set it. But it's been a while. It's now summer of 2024, and I've been on and off thinking about wisdom exchanges, and I just thought to make one today because today is all about the intelligence of your heart. And doing these wisdom exchanges honestly lights me up. It gives me energy. It's something it took me a while to make. Actually, this time last year, I think it was May as well, or April. We came back from Greece at that time. And it was really something important to me, not just to use information already out there and synthesize it, but also share what's on my heart. And I have a feeling to share as well. And I think that's valuable because nowadays in society, um, I think there's often a notion of, oh, I have to know something or I have to be prepared before I share it. But I think there's actually value of just talking from the heart. And there's something innate in that. And there's something about our society nowadays that doesn't allow you to express in a formal way from that standpoint. So I'm going to be brave and do that with all of you today. So those of you who've been watching the podcasts, watching the vlogs, and following, thank you very much. It's really my aim to bring people in illuminating dialogues, bring people who have gone through these practical experiences and share with you their wisdom, their life essence, and hopefully light something within you, right? Because I feel all humans have the same desire to express the life within them. And some humans, like when we looked at one of the illuminating dialogues on your shadow, Catherine, who was an amazing person, said something about when you're lighting something within yourself and you're going to that shadow and you're coming back from the hero's journey, you have the chance of lighting that within another person. And you have a catalytic energy. So some people have this catalytic energy that helps the other person, invoke their fire and their essence. So I hope to share with you not just some of the research today about intelligence of the heart, but just also what's on my heart with you. Because, yeah, again, about the human being, you know, human beings have value that they can share to other human beings. Um, so, yeah, hopefully you can hear me today without the microphone. Today, we'll use a red pen. Hopefully, we'll talk about the heart. And so I had just came off a coaching session today. It was my last session to submit, actually, for my official certification. And what came up today and what came up in a lot of coaching certifications is a lot of my clients, and I think sometimes you attract a certain type of client depending on the coach, right? And like me, I guess, the clients have very big hearts and they're very creative and they want to do a lot of things, but they're also very intellectual and very in their heads as well. So the journey and the unique journey, and that's all to do with where the energy is located depending on you as a person. The unique journey is really how can we do what our heart is calling and and um, not get trapped up here, but also settle our mind. Because I hear a lot of people saying the mind is bad, ignore it, go with the heart. But in our tradition, the Sikh tradition, we say that the mind, that the brain here, sorry, that's my brain. I'm just going to put a wee light, a star here. We always say that the mind is Jot Sarup, which just means like it's got the form of a light. So we shouldn't criticize these thoughts coming or doubts. They're actually coming from a meaningful place. So whether you want to go on a walk outside, we were talking today, getting up and go running in the morning, whether you want to eat better, whether there's just something you want out of your heart, that the things holding you back in your mind, not condemning them, but trying to understand where they're coming from. And if you've watched some of my Instagram posts, you'll realize that from our mind, our thoughts actually come from deeper from our emotions, our energy and emotions. So a lot of the doubts can actually come from blockages of fear in our bodies, in certain energy centers. But today, we'll focus on this energy center. And in Sanskrit, it's called the fourth energy center of Anahata. And I think the mirror is back to front, so you have to forgive me. But the Anahata, and it may sound a bit weird if you've not taken time to meditate and go into these different centers. But when you start to spend time presenting and meditating, or even just doing things that make you feel fearful, you'll start to understand, hey, I'm acting from here, my heart. Or when I'm speaking from my voice. Or when I'm exerting my will in the world, I'm feeling this energy in my stomach. When I'm feeling very grounded in nature, I'm feeling very rooted in my lower stomach, right? So all of these subtle sensations is what we call as coming from the subtle body, the pranic body. And metaphysically, the Greeks also talked about metaphysics, but in the Sanskrit tradition, these are known as chakras or energy centers. So it might sound a bit esoteric or weird for some people. I know for me, it was a really journey to understand, but I only really accepted it once I started to notice more sensitively different parts of the emotion flowing in my body as I progressed and did certain activities. And if you want a further deep dive, if you're like me, very analytical and logical and not really sure how this works, I picked up the book and I could suggest this too, Eastern Body, Western Mind. So that takes the Western mind concept of psychology, Myers-Briggs, etc., and it combines it with this concept of the chakra system. So how can we understand where our energy is flowing, how it's being blocked, or how it's being excited too much, whether we're attaching too much to other people, people pleasing, whether we're closing our heart off, whether we're not speaking our truth, whether we're not using our intuition, all of these things. I'm exploring this, but and I've also gone through a lot of self doubt, like who am I to share this, or who am I to speak about this? But I think that as we progress through the journey in life, we all have a bit of wisdom to share with each other, and I get very excited about this metaphysics. And it's something that I first came across when I was in Athens. And I kept continuing, reading books. And, I have this almost thirst to learn. And so I want to feel to share that with people, not force or teach the knowledge, but to share this knowledge because I feel it helped me somewhat and I'm still on that journey. But I also feel it could help people. And often I hosted a workshop and it's quite nice. Someone attended also from Glasgow. And when I share that knowledge, often people haven't gone to that depth. And I know there's much deeper. But some like one of the guys didn't know about the first chakra, Muladhara, the root chakra. And because my background is from the Indian or Punjabi background, I understand some of the Sanskrit terminology. So it's really a pleasure to translate that and make the knowledge accessible as well. So yeah, it's also a bit self-explaining for me today, but I think that's definitely imposter syndrome as well, and that's something that you might come across if you ever try to do something for yourself, whether it be creating a business or teaching. So going back to Eastern body, Western mind, um, our fourth energy center, the heart, is often shown with a light in the middle, shining. And you often feel it, right? When you feel like, oh, I want to call this person, you feel a flame in your heart, or oh, when I want to do some hobby or passion, flame in the heart, or oh, I should go there, right? But then sometimes a mind thought just comes and says, oh, I shouldn't do this, or I shouldn't do that, and it starts to restrict. And there's called a lot of things. We'll call it today doubt or programming or conditioning. And so, joining the working world in the last 3 years, I appreciate the working world. But honestly, what I can say is sometimes it's a bit of a struggle, because I was speaking to some people, like colleagues, and they actually said that they don't celebrate their birthday. And for me to celebrate and to remember and be grateful that you are here on this planet. We have a very short span of life on this planet, and it's quite special. We are on this earth rotating, on through this universe, and we have this gift of life, and to not celebrate your birthday, and what is it that we want in life? What is our purpose? And I feel sometimes personally I feel a bit trapped, because not a lot of people ask these questions a lot of the time. And I feel that's very core to a human being. And I think that's why I became a coach, is what do we want to do? And that might change from time to time. What do we want to do with this life, right? From a place of compassion. How can we allow that life in us come out? And might sound very fluffy to people, but I feel like that's right at the core of our humanity, and that the reason for being here. It's not a thought that we need, but it's more like an energy that we have to enact. So I get very excited sharing this with you, whether you find it valuable or not. Some people might find it valuable, but to those who connect with that energy, my hope is that if I express myself in an authentic way, that's going to help somebody else. So coming back to celebrating of your existence, celebrating of your birthday, being here on the planet, I feel that's a crucial thing. And so being in an office environment and then reading the book Eastern Body, Western Mind, from just a perceptive or human point of view, I find that being in an office environment and repeating the same tasks, it does erode on your humanity. It erodes on your sense of self and your self-worth. Because if you're spending a large amount of your time, especially in your early 20s, early or 30s, in an office environment doing this day after day, you feel like you're not living, And I certainly got caught in the loop of, you could be humble, do your work, contently. But there is like almost a longing to express yourself to the full potential, to self-actualize, right? And if you express, and when I feel to express that to people, actually, I don't know if you feel the same, that they just don't get it. It's like it's not important. What's important is to earn money and to do the job and to complete it. But I think that there's a level below that. What am I really doing? Why? How can I use my skill set? Why am I here? But I think those who feel it. And I feel like those who don't. And that's quite a point to get to, an acceptance to get to. But my job as a coach is to help those who want to express themselves to their highest and fullest capabilities, help them do that. Whether they want to go slow or go slow and go far. So coming back to Eastern Body, Western Mind, the intelligence of the heart. And before, when I was talking last year about intelligence of the heart without knowing about this heart system, I knew there was something there about giving the permission to this intelligence. But now that I understand metaphysically that The heart actually generates an energy field, and the intelligence of the heart is actually linked to a much greater intelligence, which is why you see ancient wisdom cultures or ancient wisdom traditions. Actually, they have this heart centered community or culture, whereas in traditional corporate, it's very mind led and is dissociated from the heart. And we need that culture, we need that belonging, we need that true, like they say in The Lion King, ancestral spirit and connection. And I'll show you why that's important. Because if we go to the Heart Math Institute, if you're familiar with Joe Dispenza, Joe Dispenza is actually linked to this Heart Math Institute. And it might sound a bit weird at first, but individuals' thoughts, attitudes, and emotions actually emit an energetic field. And they not only affect you, your health, and perspective of life, but also influence your relationship and experiences of your social field. So that's why gratitude is quite important. I just want to skip to social environment. So family dinner, next business meeting, social gatherings. When you hear someone say cut attention room with a knife, you can intuitively tune into that, right? You can intuitively feel that. So I just wanted to show you that, to show you that there's research going on. And often in the modern day, we need this research to give permission to say, yes, it's okay to be heart centered. And there's actually a wisdom in there. But it kind of annoys me in a certain way because, often we're told to be professional and to not be emotional. But I feel like being emotional is half of our intelligence as human beings. Emotion is a rich um, intelligence. Music, dance, art. It's a higher form, it's an abstract form of expression. And it's really a shame that we've been cut off from this. So I want to really do the justice of the intelligence of the heart. So if you're watching this and your heart is really singing to do something, that means that there is an intelligence there. And it's not to do with conditioned intelligence. The heart intelligence is something, and this is where it gets a bit spiritual. The heart intelligence is something that just is not conditioned. The heart intelligence is something that's intuitive, it's spiral like, so the mind is linear. If we drew a graph, the mind is linear, like a graph. But for here, the heart intelligence is like a spiral. So if you follow your heart, like a lot of they say the saints do, your life will become like a spiral. You might go here and there and bump into synchronicities. If you're only operating in the mind, then your life might be very monotonous. You'll be climbing the ladder, linear. You only do what you see, and you only aiming for that. But what we want to do is we want to make this center, like we say in Sikh tradition, Piri. We want to channel the wisdom, the ancient wisdom, whatever you want to call it, traditional wisdom, ancestral wisdom. We want to tune into that, which comes from the heart. And when you start meditating and really tuning into the heart, we realize that that's our true expression of the self. But we don't just want to be all over a place and not be structured, right? We want to also use our mind, our Jot Sarup, like we say in Sikh tradition. And this is a journey for me, I'm still learning. But again, I would like to share what I've learned through coaching people. So there was another lady, and she wondered whether this job or that job, right? And in the end, we asked, what did your mind want? What did your heart want? And just through having that cathartic conversation, she was able to realize what really resonated with her. And that's something really special. And don't undervalue the power of your heart and your own values, because that's where your power comes from. That's where your sovereignty comes from. So don't be afraid to take a stand and speak out, or don't be afraid to follow your dreams and follow your heart, because it's something much greater than can be comprehended by the mind. And when the mind comprehends it, it does say wow. So, for example, before I reach out to my YouTube guests, I'm scared. My mind is scared because it's somewhere I haven't gone before. But my heart really feels like I really want to connect to that person. I want to learn their wisdom. I want to share their wisdom. And, you know, there's something strong in my heart, and I just have to trust it, you know. And so far, the conversations I have, every time I watch them with my family, I'm just so grateful to speak to such great people, you know. And that was through following the wisdom of my heart. So I wanted to share that with you too. Um, and so when we start to link this, hopefully we can start getting this mind heart coherence. And if you'd like to Google heartmath.org, and you talk more in scientific way about heart math coherence. Or if you're interested in more visual things, you can type in Dr. Joe Dispenza into YouTube, and there's a lot of great videos on how elevating your emotion and having gratitude, which is why a lot of cultures where they say Allahu Akbar, Allah is great, or Hallelujah, or Vaheguru, all of these cultures always have gratitude wherever you're doing, because that elevated emotion, it brings you back to the heart and brings you back to your true essence. So heart, mind. I want to talk about karma now. Going to karma is when we get trapped here in the mind. So say there's something repeating, these are arrows going back and forward. Say there's something repeating, and remember the mind, the emotions travel up to the mind, right? And they come from the lower energy centers. So there's C3, C2. And then you can watch the Raj Garcia podcast, or even the Dr. Punuwasu podcast on different chakras, depending if you're more scientifically minded or spiritually minded. That's why there's like different explanations. But these bottom energy centers, right, in your lower stomach, the bottom one is all about the fear, about the rooting. The middle one is all about the shame and the connecting and nurturing. And then the third one, your solar plexus, is all about the power and your self will and sovereignty. So, depending on your conditioning, depending on how these emotions, you might find knots in your stomach or hurt in your stomach. These then manifest as thoughts to keep you safe. You know, they'll come up and they'll say, "Don't do this, don't do that." Be safe. They'll, and that's why I say the mind is there to protect you. To realize, okay, why is the mind protecting? What is this linked to down here in the stomach? And that's how we can start to integrate and dissolve some of this karma or some of this conditioned patterns from childhood, etc. Just by being grateful, just by being grateful, following the heart and noticing what's coming here and realizing that it's okay. For example, I can give 3 examples for each. And I always find stories is good because they really drive it home. I was scared to go to Singapore for the first time. You can see my vlogs. I'm a young 20-year-old. And I was scared to go to Singapore for the first time. And I thought, if I want to go international, I want to explore the world. When I was 19 turning 20, I have to go and take a step. And I did it. But I was really scared at my core. I felt like all the world was shattering. But then I got more stronger in my route afterwards. Same when I went to Hong Kong. I woke up the first night I was there. I was so scared. I felt my whole world was uprooted, right? But that's what that does. when we're testing, when we're leaving home, when we're leaving everything we know. That's that C1, the rooting, the fear. C2, when sometimes when I have to say no to certain events, whether it's family or friends, I'm focusing, let's say, on a project or task, or I want to have a break and go myself somewhere. I really need somewhere to recharge. Often that's C2. I feel a bit shameful for taking time for myself. You might feel that as well. You know, people pleasing comes in because we want to spend time with people, but at the same time, we want to spend time with ourselves and make sure we're doing our own projects, our own bodies, our mind justice. So that's why that shame can come in. So fear, shame, and the last one is, I will say, powerlessness. So, for example, in a work scenario, if I'm overwhelmed, I feel, wow, this system is really, and I was Googling it today about understanding about chronic workload. A lot of people nowadays feel the workload is so much, and you start to feel powerlessness, right? It's like a waterfall falling on top of you constantly. And so that will make your C3, right? You don't feel powerful anymore. You feel powerlessness. So these are the three different levels, right? And your mind can be conditioned in that way. So how do we break out of this? Straight away, we go into the present moment. We're thankful. We step into our own power, and then we realize, what can we do? You know, I was also scared about putting this live today. What could I talk about, right? I'm just speaking from the heart, and turns out it's going very well so far. So another thing I want to talk about is, for example, when I'm having breakfast, or we're having breakfast, noticing that our mind can be zoned out, and then suddenly it's back again because our conditioning takes over. And nowadays, day and age, I find it hard as well. Instagram, YouTube, we're constantly in this zone of being in the mind, going asleep. But just to be here, be now, we have to practice that, right? Reclaiming the attention so we can be here, we can take control, responsibility of our life. And it's okay if you don't know what you want to do, right? As long as you are taking small actions that align with your heart. And so I just want to end on that. A lot of clients I see are torn between their heart and their mind. It's really the successful combination of both. But again, really, really, it's holding your heart higher. And when you find you're in the mind a lot, or you find you're in self doubt, or you're beating yourself out, up, up and out, take yourself out to nature. You know, nature always helps me. Connect with your families, connect with your friends. Take a walk in nature at your own pace. Listen to the trees, and I might go after this. Listen to the trees, enjoy the sunshine, and nature restores you. It grounds you, it roots you. Because when you're in a laptop and a computer all day, it funnels the attention from the mind and it disconnects your muladhara, your root, and so you become disconnected. And so all of the thoughts are just looping. So the quickest thing you can do, go into nature, ground yourself. I really hope that was useful about intelligence from the heart, about giving yourself the permission to speak without maybe some information prepared, to speak and give yourself permission that you have wisdom within you. That yes, there may be people more intelligent, more wise, more awakened than you, but you also have something special within you to share with the world, whether it be cooking, whether it be artistry, whether it be caring for people. You have a unique gift. That's why I'm a coach, to hold space and take a stand for people who want meaning in their life, who want to live a life of dharma. We say in the Sikh tradition that first step is called dharam khand, which is the realm of righteous action. And of course, is righteous with compassion and, of course, a high spirit attitude. So thank you again, everyone, for listening. That was 30 minutes. If you would like to delve into more understanding your own gift set, your own personality, there's 5 free tests there. QR code. You can press that. There's Via Strengths, there's MBTI, there's Enneagram. It helped me understand at the start my strengths. Reach out to me. I'm happy to have a chat and talk about what lights you up. Watch the podcasts. It's all there for you. On my website, jyoti.com, if you want any of these resources directly. If you made it to the end, thank you everybody for listening. I'm really grateful for having the opportunity to go down this path and follow my own heart to also help other people like their own hearts. So with that, thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you all next time. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.